Assalamualaikum and welcome back everyone. So this is next topic 3, that is analytics method, the first part. So first thing first, let us take a look at the topic outline. So by end of this lesson, what you should know are categories of analytics method, the methodology for data analytics, popular analytics method, and also choosing the analytical method. So let us just recap back our first chapter back then. Okay, what is the purpose of data analytics? Usually, data analytics is being used to support the decision making. Okay, to provide an advantage over competitors. If you still remember, I gave you example of airline company. Okay, for example, Mars over AirAsia. Okay, if AirAsia use data analytics, so it can provide, the data analytic can provide advantage over its competitor, that is Mars here. Okay, and it also give insights of the data, okay, of our data, of past data, so that we can take a look into the future. So this is just recap back. Okay, next is 4 types of analytics, is also recap back on the first class, on our first class. Okay, so we have 4 types of analytics. This is the first one, yeah. Okay, if you still remember, descriptive analytics, diagnostic analytics, predictive analytics, and also prescriptive analytics. Okay, so if you still remember, we have descriptive and then we have diagnostic, predictive, and then we have prescriptive. I think you have done some exercise on talking about the 4 types of analytics being applied in HFMD. So you have to recall back on this. Okay. Next is on, so this one I won't give you further example or further detail on this. I hope you can read this on your own. So next is, what do we actually search for data analytics? Okay, we are going to find, first is on the correlation, whether there is any relationship between, for example, we have 2 quantitative or we have continuous variable. Okay, for example, we have age and blood pressure. Is there any correlation based on our data analytics? So for example, you have a data set or a database of patient in hospital, okay, and this database contain the data of age and blood pressure status. For example, you can say that if most of the data, if the age is more than 50, then the blood status or the blood pressure status is yes. So we can see that the older the person gets, the more what they call that chances it will get the high blood pressure. We can also see the pattern based on the repetitive characteristic as well. We will take a look at this later on. Next is the methodology of analytics or data mining or data science project. If you are using, you want to do a data analytics project, for example, if you go out, okay, you are working, okay, you want to do the data analytics project, so your boss said, okay, first thing first, let us do the methodology. So if you still remember on system, okay, system methodology, you have PADIM, right? Planning, analysis, then development, implementation, design. Okay, sorry, it's design, analysis, design, and then implementation, and M stand for maintenance, right? So this is the same with data analytics. It has it has its own methodology, that is CRISP-DM, or in general, we can say it as cross-industry standard process for data mining. So it can be used in any industry. This methodology can be used in any industry for us to apply data analytics. So what is inside the, what is the process, or what is the flow of CRISP-DM here? Okay, first we have business understanding. And then once we have understand the business, we are going to get the data. So when you get the data, you need to do the data understanding, and then you need to reflect back, or you need to relate them with your business understanding. Meaning that you, instead of you just use the data, okay, just take a look at the data, you need to understand what it's all about, okay. Then you have here data preparation. You need to prep your data. Once you have understand your data, you are going to prep your data. You're going to take a look at what data that you are going to be used in your model, and then what kind of pre-processing that you are going to use, okay. All of those things must be taken care of, okay. Next is you start to do the modeling, okay. Once you have started the modeling, meaning that you apply the predictive analytics here. Analytics, okay. There are a few methods of predictive analytics. We will take a look at this, okay, in the later on. So in modeling, it will go back to your data preparation. So for example, you in your model, okay, in your predictive model, say you want to predict something, okay. If the model is not that good, you need to re-prepare your data, okay. And then once you think that, okay, this data is good enough for us to input them into the modeling, then you try it back until you get the best model. Then only once you got the best model, you are going to do the evaluation here, okay. Meaning that you are going to apply them with your real set of data. Meaning that this data is not being seen in this phase before, okay. Then only we are going to do the deployment once the top management has agreed that, oh, okay, this model is good for us to get the analysis of the data. Okay, let us take a look at the details for each phases. Okay, each phase. One is business understanding. So in business understanding, you are going to understand the problem to be solved, and this may require multiple iteration. Okay, you need to understand it many ways because you are not in the area. And then the design team should think carefully about the problem to be solved and the use scenario. Okay, and the must ask question are what do we want to do, and how exactly would we like to do it, and what part of use scenario constitute possible data mining model. So next phase is data understanding. So in data understanding, what does data mean? Data is a raw material from the solution which the solution will be built. So meaning that you have those database, for example, or all of the raw material. So it is important for you to understand the strength and limitation of your data, because rarely they're an exact match to the problem. Sometimes different approach may be needed for different kind of data. For example, here, historical data often are collected for a different purpose. So it is common for a business problem to have several data mining tasks, okay? Several data mining tasks, and the result of each task solve the problem. Next is the data preparation, where you have to convert it into a form that you can help yield better result. For example, you can convert data into tabular format, and then you have to remove or infer the missing value. So example, in your data set, okay, there are row and column, right? So there exists, for example, column number 2, row number 2 here, that there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 attribute, 1, 2, 3, 4 attribute here. So this one, for example, you have X value, okay, but then this one, it is left empty. This is Y, for example, and then this is another value that is Z, Z. But this one is what we call as missing value, meaning that there is no value inside the column. It is empty, or we can say yes, missing. Then in data preparation, we also need to convert the data into different types so it can fit the model well. Next is the modeling. So the modeling is basically the place where data mining techniques are applied to the data. So you are going to mine the data here, okay? Maknanya you nak gali data, you nak analyze your data you. So typically the output of some sort of model or pattern capturing regularities in the data. Next is evaluation. So meaning that you have to access the data mining result and then gain confidence that the result are valid and reliable. And you have to propose the model to your stakeholders. So you can say that, oh, okay, this model is more good than harm, or would it be catastrophic? Evaluating result of data mining would include both quantitative and qualitative assessment. So these evaluation techniques are statistical in nature, so it won't be covered in this chapter or in this subject. Okay, next, last but not least is the deployment. Okay, in the deployment phase, data mining results are put into real use, okay, in order to realize some return on investment. So this involves implementing the proposed model. So you have your proposed model, you are going to use the real use data into your model so that you can do any prediction or analysis. So these observation, okay, the observation from this stage may require an iteration back to the business understanding. Why? Because you need to get the idea, okay, the result is really needed by your business question. So there, from here, the improvement and the refinement of the model is being made. So these are the popular analytics method. You have classification, class probability estimation. We can call it sometime as class probability estimation. Next, we have regression. Then we have similarity matching, clustering, co-occurrence grouping, and also profiling. Let us take a look at each and one of them. So consider this case, a MegaTelco case. For example, this company is a cell phone company, and then it said that customer leave as soon as their contract expire. And lately, it has been increasing difficult to acquire new customer. Okay, you can also imagine Telkom. Okay, you can imagine Telkom once the contract is expired, so the customer will leave. So the cell phone market has become saturated, and that is why telco companies are battling to attract each other's customer while retaining their own. Meaning that it is having competition with Maxis, U Mobile, and so on. Okay, so this telco company need to use the data analysis so that it can analyze whether the customer switching from one company to another company. So we can say this as churning, and it is expensive all around. Churning meaning that switching from one company to another company, meaning that this Celcom, okay, I just give you a simple example. Celcom, for example, it analyze the previous data yang dia dah simpan dalam database dia tu. Based on behavior dia tu, dia nak tengok adakah bila contract tu expired, okay, orang ni mungkin akan churn ataupun tak churn, meaning that dia akan tukar kepada another company ataupun tak perlu tukar kepada another telco provider. So first you have one analytics method, that is classification. Okay. What is the goal of classification here? Classification is basically to predict which class an individual belong to. Okay. For example, you have a question: among all the customers of MegaTelco, which are likely to respond to a given offer? Okay. So meaning that, maknanya kat sini kan soalan dia adalah which customer are likely to respond. Meaning that dia nak tahu respond ataupun not respond to a given offer. So that is why, okay, our class here kita nak predict adakah dia nak respond ataupun dia tak respond. So that is why our class here is will respond and will not respond. Our object is our customer. So each data kita ni, okay, for example, you bayangkan dalam relational table here, okay. So you ada data satu talking about Ali punya data dua Ahmad, and you have some other attribute here, okay, and you have one more class here. So this is class. Class meaning that you nak predict apa. So for example here you nak predict will refund or will respond or will not respond. Okay. So in classification task, it is a data mining model predict which class an individual belong to. So this is a classification task, while class probability estimation task is instead of predicting which class an individual belong to, it will predict the probability an individual belong to which class. So the probability will become the score of the value. So for example here you have a set of customer, then you do the phone call, okay, to offer something, okay, about your telco provider. So in estimation, class probability estimation, you have the probability, okay. For example, 80% will respond and 5% will not respond. Next, we have another methods of data analysis, that is on regression. So just now in classification, it is used to predict class. Now in regression, it is used to predict number. Okay, predict numerical value. Okay, of some variable for that variable. So for example, you have question here, how much will a given customer use the service? Okay, berapa banyak yang dia nak pakai untuk servis tu? Okay, berapa yang dia boleh, for example, dia boleh guna data ke, for example, okay. For example, kita nak tengok berapa gig data untuk each customer akan guna. Okay, untuk klien ataupun customer A, dia mungkin guna 10 gig. Klien B, for example, dia adalah klien second, dia adalah student, okay, mungkin dia akan pakai 20 gig sebab banyak nak kena guna kan, nak buat online classes. And then customer number 3, for example, nenek yang dah umur 60, duduk dekat kampung, mungkin dia pakai 5 gig sahaja. So this is the thing, or this is the numerical value that we are going to predict. Okay. So the task of regression is to predict the service usage, for example, for a particular individual, typically by looking at other similar individual in population and their historical usage. Okay. So this is example yang saya bagi tadi. Next, we have similarity matching. Okay. Similarity matching underlies other data mining tasks such as classification, regression and clustering. So in similarity matching, the goal is to identify similar individual, okay, based on data known about them. So meaning that kita nak cari orang yang lebih kurang similar, okay. So the method, the popular method for making product recommendation, for example, you nak buat product recommendation is based on finding the people who are similar to you when purchasing item, okay. Next is clustering. Clustering is to group individual, Okay, tadi kita tengok on similarity matching, maknanya satu individu tu adakah dia lebih kurang dengan individu yang lain. So promotion akan kita bagi kepada kalau dia ada attribute yang lebih kurang dengan 1% tu. Okay, so promotion pun kita akan bagi kepada that particular customer. Next is clustering. Okay, clustering is to group individual into population together by dissimilarity as well, but it is not driven by any specific purpose. Kita tak tahu macam mana dia buat the clusters tu ataupun dia buat the grouping. Okay. So the question is, do our customer form natural group or segment? So this is based on useful in preliminary domain exploration. Which natural group will later suggest other data mining tasks or approaches. So for example, dekat sini you ada set of customer kat sini kan. So based on behavior of the customer, data-data customer yang kita tengok tu, kita cuba buat clustering. Okay. Clustering akan ada algorithm, its own algorithm, and then kita tak tahu pun apa benda yang dia nak, whether kita nak tengok on text ke, kita nak tengok on log ke, tapi dia akan cluster based on the similar attribute. For example, orang ni, 3 orang ni dia punya properties ataupun attribute behavior dia adalah seldom call nor text. Kalau orang ni pula only receive call. Kalau macam ni, cluster ni text occasionally. So bila dia nak buat promotion, okay, bila Selcom ni for example dia nak buat promotion, dia takkan blast promotion kepada semua customer. Betul tak? Dia akan blast, okay, for example dia kata kita buat promotion on call. Kita nak bagi free call. So meaning that dia akan buat promotion untuk jaga customer dia kepada siapa sahaja. Cluster yang class call for long hour here. Okay. Dia tak akan bagi kepada orang yang for example text frequently. Mungkin dia kata, oh okay, kalau yang text frequently ni dia tak suka call. Itu adalah clustering punya teknik. Okay. Next is co-occurrence grouping, meaning that it is also known as frequent item set mining. Kadang-kadang kita panggil frequent item set mining ya. Ataupun kita boleh panggil juga association rule discovery ataupun association rule mining. Or we can also say as market basket analysis. Kenapa? Nanti saya akan bagi tahu kenapa kita panggil market basket analysis. So the goal is to find the association between individual based on transaction involving them. For example, kita nak tengok ada tak association antara individual berdasarkan dia punya transaction. So question kita adalah what item are commonly purchased together. So, apa yang kita kena tengok adalah kita nak tengok the similarity of object based on the appearing of together in transaction. For example, you pernah tengok tak, kalaulah you beli pizza, okay, what is the promotion yang dia selalu, macam contoh you beli dekat apa tu, Pizza Hut ataupun Domino's, nanti dia akan pop up satu promotion kan, dia akan pop up untuk beli Coke for example, okay. So this is based on the analysis yang dia dah buat on co-occurrence grouping. Maknanya pizza ni often being purchased with Coke. Kalau orang tu beli pizza, confirm dia akan beli Coke. For example, 90% pelanggan dia akan beli Coke. So dia tak akan bagi another promotion ataupun dia tak akan bagi offer something yang dia rasa orang tu tak akan beli pun. Macam contoh dia nak offer cake chocolate for example kan. Kalau dia tengok orang tu beli pizza, jarang lah. Not many time orang tu akan beli cake chocolate. So dia tak akan offer cake chocolate. Itu adalah layman punya example lah. Okay. Sini, this is an example. A hungry people who bought pizza will also bought noodle. So therefore, always offer noodle to someone who bought pizza. So maknanya kalau orang tu beli pizza, dia mesti akan beli noodle juga. Sebabnya based on the past transaction, kita nampak selalunya orang akan beli ni sekaligus. Kalau talking about the market basket analysis, sebenarnya ini selalunya diguna pakai dekat supermarket ya. For example, you tengok kan dekat depan-depan tu kan ada a few promotion, ataupun kadang-kadang you nampak dekat telur ada something else. For example, dia ada pemotong telur. Sebabnya selalunya kalau orang tu selalu beli telur, dia akan selalu beli juga the pemotong telur tu. And then profiling. Profiling is also known as behavioral description. So the goal is to characterize the typical behavior of an individual, group ataupun population. So the question is, kalau you work in that telco company tadi tu kan, what is the typical cell phone usage of this segment? Okay. So maknanya dia nak tengok apa profile ataupun apa behavior dekat segmen yang certain segment ni. Okay, segment ni. So the task is to require a complex description of night and weekend airtime. And kita nak tengok juga the international usage, roaming charges and also text minutes and etc. Okay. So for example here, kita nak tengok profile kan. Kita dah tengok profile Jane is a student. So this is her service usage profile recorded by telco. So Jane ni selalunya dia akan pakai, bulan Januari dia pakai WhatsApp and then dia pakai SMS. Okay. Lepas tu dia call. Next February pun dia buat benda yang sama. Tiba-tiba during April dia buat international call without doing anything else yang dia selalu buat. So this is actually a mismatch whereby it does not match your Jane punya profile. So mungkinlah kita boleh alert, the telco tu boleh alert, oh okay mungkin telefon Jane ni kena curi oleh somebody else. Ataupun another example is saya punya, this is my own experience ya. For example, you ada card bank kan, is either debit or credit card kan. Debit or credit. Okay, credit card. So for example, masa saya study dulu, saya pergi ke Europe. Okay, saya study di UK and then saya pergi ke Europe. Tiba-tiba phone bank call. Okay, bank call, dia kata, okay, you have a transaction, you have a fishy transaction here where you doing or you buying something in US. Okay, sebabnya bank dia tahu, okay, saya selalu swipe di UK ataupun saya akan swipe kad saya di Europe. Tiba-tiba on that day ada satu transaction yang saya berada di US dan dalam masa yang sama saya swipe kad saya di Europe. So this is what we call as profiling. Sebab profile saya selalunya ada di dua negara ni sahaja instead of dekat sini. So dia akan bar lah saya punya kad. Itu adalah satu contoh lah. Then this is another example. Jack is a lecturer. So this is his purchase profile recorded by his credit card company. So dia selalu beli hotdog, ayam dengan isi minyak kan. Tiba-tiba on April dia beli seekor lembu. So this is a mismatch, right? So it does not fit the profile. So possibly a fraud has taken his credit card. Okay. So we have seen all of those analytical method just now. We have what? Classification. And then we also have association room mining or market basket analysis. We have clustering, and then we have regression, right? Then often we need to know which analytical method that we are going to use. So often a data analyst must be able to propose one or multiple analytical method to solve the business problem. However, this can be a little bit tricky. Sebabnya one way to solve it is to identify the business problem. Okay, so for example, masalah untuk that business tu, is it require a supervised or unsupervised data mining method based on determining the question whether it has target or purpose of grouping. So for example, kalau contoh dia nak dapatkan class of the data, okay, dia dah tahu kelas tu kelas apa, cuma dia just nak categorizekan for each row tu nak duduk dalam which class. So this is what we call as we are having the target, or sometimes tadi saya dah mention on class label. So once you have those class label, you akan pakai supervised method. Supervised method because you have the target. Tapi kalaulah for example kita nak group tapi kita tak tahu pun nak group kepada apa kan. So that one we will call it as unsupervised, meaning that kita tak tahu pun apa kelas kita ataupun apa target kita. So mungkin dalam unsupervised kita ada cluster, for example. So this is example. Do our customer naturally fall into different group? Adakah kita tahu what group is that group, kan? Is that a target? So target ni adakah kita tahu group kita tu apa? So kita tak ada. So this is what we call as unsupervised method. Usually in unsupervised method, clustering technique, co-occurrence grouping and profiling will fall under this one. Next example, how can we find a group of customer who have particularly high likelihood to cancel their service soon after their contract expired? So maknanya kita nak tahu orang tu akan cancel ataupun tak cancel. So this is actually our target. Okay. So this is what we call as supervised method. Usually we have two methods fall under it, that is classification and also regression. Similarity matching dia duduk antara dua-dua ni. Sometimes dia boleh jadi clustering and it can be also classification. Next is how can we find group of customer who have likelihood of cancelling their service soon after. Okay, this is the same one, right? Yeah. This is the same. Okay. So now that you know, okay, sebenarnya dia adalah example yang sebelum tu. Okay, now that you know our task of data analytics, sebenarnya task kita adalah to predict the target. For example, kita ada this kind of question, kita nak tengok on cancel ataupun not cancel. So our task is to predict the target. So what is required to predict the target? It required a label data. So this is a class label. So you can refer back on my previous slide when talking on class label just now. So next thing that you need to know, tadi kita tahu kalau supervised is either classification or regression, right? Sekarang ni which method kita nak pakai, sama ada classification ataupun regression, which exact methods? Okay. Tadi kan saya dah bagi tahu kan, kalau classification kita ada class, kalau regression kita ada number, right? So, for example, this question, will this customer purchase service as if given incentive X? Okay. Apa jawapan dia? Will this customer purchase service X if given incentive X? So, kita nak tahu apa kat sini? Purchase ataupun not purchase? Is this a classification or is this a regression? Okay. If you say that this is a class, okay, this is the class, maknanya kita punya target. So, this would be the classification. Sebab kita tak ada nombor pun kan, kita nak predict kan. Kita nak predict class dia duduk dekat mana, purchasing ataupun not purchasing. Okay. Which service package, S1, S2 or none will a customer purchase if given incentive X? Same goes to this one. Ini adalah dikira sebagai dia punya class. Package apa? Okay. So this is what we call as nominal data. So this won't be explained in this subject actually. Kalau you nak tengok, you can do the further research. Okay. Next, the third question. How much will this customer use the service? How much? When you are talking about how much, berapa bil yang dia kena bayar, for example, okay, so this one is talking about number. So that is why kita akan pakai regression method here. So this one is classification, this one is regression, this is classification. Kalau classification you ada class, kalau regression you nak predict the number.